TC, remember this telephone number. You ready? You going to make a note of this?
I'm making a note.
855
855
558
558
3500.
3500. 855
yeah.
855 558 3500.
That is the number to call if you're thinking about retiring. If you're transitioning to retirement, you should know that it's one of the most important financial decisions of your life. The current financial climate, it makes it even more difficult. People want to know, am I on track? Call Steve Cordasco, John Walker, the Cordasco team at Mercer Advisors. They can guide you through this important transition in your life and create a tailored plan for you so that you can plan ahead and enjoy retirement in a lifestyle that you're accustomed to. Don't make the important transition without a plan. That is the message. Call this number, 855-558-3500. Steve's a good guy. He'll take good care of you. Cordasco Financial Network, that's a trade name owned by Mercer Global Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Andrew Garrett, Inc., which is not affiliated with Cordasco Financial Network or Mercer Advisors. Client experiences vary. Successful outcomes are not guaranteed. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. By the way, I'm rocking the merch again today.
Yes, you are.
I'm not wearing the hat to hawk hat sales, although that's okay, but it just, look, it fits.
Yeah.
I'm in my Johnny Cash Man in Black today. Did you notice?
It's the uniform. Welcome.
Doesn't it?
I always wear
but
black.
You're in black. Why aren't you wearing the hat? The hat would go well with what you're wearing.
I don't wear hats indoors. That's all right.
Are you going to be wearing it outdoors?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have one in your car?
Yes.
Why don't I believe you?
Oh, well, you should come and look. I love my Smerconish hat. And actually,
I do too.
Don't forget that I have the
big one.
I have the big one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fabulous.
You've got the collector's item.
I do.
Did you?
And I have the lightning round t-shirt, and I actually saw a friend of mine I hadn't seen for a while, and I gave her for Christmas a dog toy for each of her dogs. So 2 dog toys and a TC Strong tank top. And she was so excited.
Did you see in my Instagram feed yesterday?
Come on. People want that as Smerch merch. People want it.
I'm going to take it up with Eric X.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to do?
I don't know. That is.
Where did you find it?
A woman who worked for my campaign as a volunteer mailed it to me over Christmas.
No, I thought you found it in your attic or something.
And she said, I thought I'm sure I have one in the attic. Okay, because you know me.
But
I hadn't seen it for a long time. And she said, I thought you would want this. Thank you, Lois. I do. Lois Updike, little shout out. Very touching that she would take the time to mail it to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at it and I just laughed and I thought, I have to take a picture of this.
I think everybody in the Smerconish orbit had the same reaction.
Vintage.
Retro, vintage, loved it.
1986.
Something about the font and the colors. It looks retro.
I said, if it still fit,
and
I might have to take a run.
Does it?
No. No.
Amazing.
No. All right, on more serious matters. TC, I have something in common with Prince Harry.
What?
Yes, I have something serious in common, and it's not.
I don't like this.
And it's not the woman in the field behind the pub.
Oh, for the love
I have
of God.
something
Thank
in common
God.
with Prince Harry, and it is that both of us recreated and traced Diana's final ride.
All right, but Diana's his mother. That's a little different.
I know, but I did it too.
You're also kind of super creepy.
I did it too.
Were you trying to solve things?
I told you this story
remember. Now,
before that I was in
I know.
Paris years ago, and I had an Arab driver, which is significant to my telling of the story only because he wanted to convince me. He went to the back of the Ritz and then retraced and explained everything that happened to Diana because he wanted to convince me that she was knocked off because the royal family didn't want her married, didn't want to have a stepfather to the future king who was Arab.
Dodi Al-Fayed.
Exactly.
Wow.
And now here's Harry revealing, he's everywhere. The interviews are everywhere.
It's so sad.
But among the many, many salacious details that now we know that we didn't when we were last together is that he said that he had a limo driver take him through the tunnel.
Yeah.
Then, TC,
I'm listening.
He discussed it with Harold.
Willie.
And Willie, I guess, right. Did I mix them up?
Yes.
Apparently they went back together.
Yeah. I think the whole thing, I
Wow.
cannot help but think he's going to regret all of this.
I'll tell you when he's going to
cannot-
regret it, because it
cannot.
occurs to me. I now know.
Oh.
I now know when he's going to regret it.
Have you got the whole thing figured out?
I got the whole thing
Okay,
figured out,
do
as
tell.
usual.
Hang on, let me take a
As
sip of
usual,
coffee while you...
As usual, TC.
Right.
Why aren't you drinking out of a diesel mug? We now have those.
I haven't gotten mine yet. Wait, has yours arrived?
I haven't received mine either.
Okay, I mean, it's on order.
Okay, so I discussed with you last week whether the publisher is going to recoup all that they laid out, because it's a huge book deal for Harry, right? Have no fear. Believe me, they're going to make their money. From the New York Times today, a tell-all by a member of the British royal family was bound to be a nightmare to manage. Big books, widely anticipated books, will often leak, despite publishers' best attempts to keep the process tightly orchestrated. But the contents of Harry's memoir have been excavated to such a degree, interesting word, excavated to such a degree that it has raised the question, will readers still be curious? In other words, with all of the revelations we've heard, don't you feel like you know the story now? Are you still going to buy the book? The answer apparently is yes.
Fascinating.
Yes.
There's more.
The media frenzy seems to be driving interest in the memoir, which is due out on Tuesday. Spare held the #1 spot on Amazon in the United States and Britain on Friday, as well as at Barnes & Noble. Booksellers and distributors said that pre-orders are enormous and growing. Okay, now to come back to your question as to whether he will regret it. Here's when he's going to regret it.
Tell me.
The deal, I feel 98% certainty in what I'm telling you, is a 4-book deal, and it may include Meghan too.
Like, what else is
What else
there?
can he say? What is he going to say in book 3? What's he going to say in book 3?
It's
Then he's
so
going to have to
awful.
really, I mean, look, Netflix, for as revelatory as we thought the Oprah interview was, and then Netflix, he held a ton back. But how much more can he? And don't you think by the 2nd book, the 3rd book, the 4th book, people in the UK are going to be like, Harry, for crying out loud, go away.
I think they already are that. I mean, if you can turn me off, who could have been a more stringent supporter of Harry and Meghan through the years? I get so much grief from you and from listeners. I think this is just so sad. I think he has real issues.
In 2007.
And instead of going to therapy like the rest of us are and that he should be doing, he's just airing it all out.
In 2007, the now father of 2, who was 23 at the time, I guess he was 13 when she passed, was in the French capital for the Rugby World Cup. While being driven around the city, Prince Harry recalled how he asked to be taken through the Alma underpass where Princess Diana died on the 31st of August, 1997. He also requested that they go through the tunnel at 65 miles per hour, the same speed Princess Diana's chauffeur was driving at when the tragic accident occurred. Harry recounted the driver was shocked when he asked him if he knew the tunnel where his mother had died, asked him to drive through it. The royal revealed he barely felt anything when he entered the tunnel, writing, "The bump that supposedly sent Mummy's Mercedes veering off course." He recounted how he counted the lights and the pillar inside. I did the same thing. Inside the tunnel as the car whizzed through, but was shocked at how short the tunnel actually was when he emerged. Harry recalled imagining the tunnel was a dangerous route, but was surprised to learn it was a no-frills tunnel. He recounted speaking to William about the tunnel where their mother had died after he made the journey through it himself. The pair then agreed to travel through it once more together, after which Harry says they talked about their mother's accident for the first time. He regarded the final report as an insult and a shambles, which he believed was inaccurate. So how about that?
I think it is just, I can't. Tragic.
All right. Other headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. A lot of voting in the last couple of days. Friday, I asked the question, and remember now, when we were last together on Friday, Kevin McCarthy had not yet been elected. I think I read to you that the betting markets were saying it was now like a 50% likelihood that he was. It all happened Friday night.
I forgot that we were not, when we were last together. Of course.
We didn't know.
No, we didn't know.
Okay, but I asked, I came on air and I asked if he is elected speaker,
Such a good
will
question.
the many ballots it required brand him as diminished, which was the conventional wisdom, or as a fighter? We had 22,000 and change vote. 91% plus said diminished. Notice that when he got up to the podium on Friday night, actually literally Saturday morning, I never give up is what he said.
And did you call me? Did you or did you not call me on Friday afternoon and say, are you listening to how the Republicans' message is changing? Are you now
and
like
some in the media?
Was I right?
And some in the media said, "Hello, Kevin McCarthy."
Only reason
he hung in there.
That is the only reason you called me.
Yeah, of course, to tell you I told you so.
Correct.
Yeah. Saturday, as we've discussed, we think a record in voting from Smerconish.com, 46,599. Should the speaker allow C-SPAN cameras full access to the House chamber for all proceedings, 93% agreed with me. I need to see the ratings for my Saturday CNN program. I need to see the ratings. Tomorrow I'll see them. Because I want to know if the enormous voting, TC, was reflective of a bigger than usual audience, or did it just strike a chord, the commentary that I delivered?
I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that the voting also mirrored the tweets and the Twitter traffic, which were people that were watching your show. In other words, it was one of those Saturdays that was eye crossing because there was
a lot of volume.
Yeah.
My simple standard is anywhere that you can walk in off the street and watch government function,
that's it.
A camera should be permitted. If I have the right as a citizen to be in that meeting, so too should a camera. That is the Smerconish standard.
How do you square that with the tweet that you sent out in the middle of last week saying if there weren't cameras, this would have been settled long ago?
I recognize that it is a downside in the same way that on television I acknowledged that cameras in the O.J. Simpson case are what made it literally the longest trial at that point in California history.
I find that fascinating. There's a lot going into this.
Yesterday, I love this one. I love this. 18,787 on a Sunday. Should there be virtual instruction on those days when schools are closed for inclement weather? Relatively close. 53-47, I'll round. Yeses, there should be virtual instruction. Should there still be snow days? Because look, by virtue of the pandemic, all of these schools, public and private, they know how to teach virtually.
Right.
So what is the explanation or excuse for a snow day where there isn't, other than mental health?
Pure joy.
Pure joy.
Pure joy.
Pure joy.
Pure joy. And I'm sorry, like I had a friend who was dumbfounded this weekend when I was like, oh, obviously they should have snow days. He was like, what are you talking about?
That's why it's such a great question. It's a great question. The school district where I went K through 12 public school system in the suburbs of Philly, the school superintendent recently announced there will be snow days. Yeah. There will be snow days, meaning no virtual.
Yeah.
No virtual. It's a snow day. Do what you want to do. Today, do you agree with Joe Biden now using Title 42, a Trump policy he opposes, to expel migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela? 2 years into his term, yesterday he went down to the border, but they'd already moved. He saw no migrants. So, all the migrants were gone by the time that he got there yesterday, so the fighting continues about this. The CDC attempted last year to rescind the border expulsion order. I mean, after all, it's supposed to be a public health measure. It makes sense. If people are bringing into the country communicable diseases, then we use Title 42 to stop that process. But when we're ahead of the pandemic, or we think we are, there's no longer a justification to use Title 42. And now the Biden administration is doing exactly that. So vote today on the poll question. You paying attention to the New England mom who's missing, 39-year-old mom?
I mean, it's always the husband. That's
or
it.
The wife.
That's it.
Or the wife.
That's it. It's
or
always,
the wife.
In this case, it is always. And it's interesting that, okay, so this is a mom who's been missing since New Year's Day.
3 kids.
3 little kids, boys ages 2 to 6, so really little kids. She's been missing since New Year's Day, was only reported missing this past Wednesday, which I guess is why he's been arrested for misleading the police. Like, he hasn't been arrested for anything for the murder, quote unquote, yet.
Right.
But so misleading a police investigation, does that mean he's not saying like timing? He said that she did some kind of ride share, but there's no reference of the ride share.
They want to put pressure on him. That's what this is all about.
Okay. All right.
You've got to go to my Facebook page and watch the video if you can stomach it.
Oh.
They stop it right before, but you know what's about to happen.
Yeah, you do.
Robber comes into a Texas restaurant, holds up the place, like 10 patrons are there, takes their valuables, and then, good guy with a gun pulls out his weapon, shoots him, I think, 9 times, including a final shot in the head, kills him. The robber had a fake gun. Will that matter? Probably not. Probably not, because the guy who killed him didn't know it was a fake gun and therefore had a reasonable fear of serious bodily injury. Law enforcement want to speak to him now. A lawyer says he's prepared to come in and talk.
Wow.
Watch the video. Watch the video at Smerconish.com. The Idaho suspect, I'm so taken with this. I had Cece Moore on TV with me this weekend.
She was fantastic.
She was excellent.
So good.
She's the best.
Great on radio, great on TV, up early for you, which I appreciate.
Yeah, she's in Orange County.
We owe her a vat of coffee.
That.
Right, exactly.
So they say that this guy, whose name I don't like to say, but when he was in his Washington State University, WSU Criminal Justice and Criminology program, he was a Kathy Chatty in class, except when they talked about the nearby murders.
Well, and there's all kinds of things online
about
how
God.
Was he commenting on Reddit threads
and did he show up
details
and did he show up at the vigil?
Right,
because it looks like him. It really does, doesn't it?
So I mean, it's like a movie. It's like a something that you would see on Netflix, where the guy comes back and then he's like, helping the police, but he's really the killer. I mean, it really is something.
You do know that I'm a 2-time keynote speaker at the Illinois Farm Bureau.
I do know that because you're a farmer.
And you do know that in my vegetable garden at home, I have a placard from the Illinois Farm Bureau.
How could I not know that? And if people don't know what you're talking about, go and look on Instagram. Go ahead.
So I was drawn to the story. I have to tell you something. It was a big news weekend. I mean, we haven't even referenced in this part of the program, Brazil had their own January 6th.
Right.
So just think about this. We had Kevin McCarthy finally be elected on Friday night.
Right.
The riotous events of Brazil over the weekend, big NFL weekend.
Big.
I mean, a lot of stuff going on.
A
lot of stuff going on.
Running back for a touchdown.
And yet, early this morning, when I looked at the BBC, the number one story at the BBC was the story about John Deere finally relenting and giving American farmers the right to repair equipment as they see fit and not have to use Deere for parts and the repair process.
Of course, I had to read through it because I was like,
huge.
What do you mean they can't repair their own? And of course, it has to do with warranties and futures, and I didn't understand. Well, and now I understand.
From Deere's perspective.
From the farmer's perspective is really what I would like to know.
Okay, but yes, I shall answer.
Thank you.
I shall answer. I actually, wait a minute. I have a John Deere tractor.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it a tractor or is it like one of those little things, like little?
See, now you're going to try
truck things.
Now you're trying to be dismissive of me.
I'm not. I love John Deere.
A John Deere tractor.
Okay, fine.
That's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know.
So the deal is, and my God, it's a workhorse.
Okay.
It's a workhorse.
I'm sure.
But the deal is, from Deere's perspective, they say, hey, we want our parts and our authorized representatives to do the repairs because this is farm equipment. People get hurt.
Yeah.
By definition, it can be perilous.
Right.
We want to make sure that you're using our equipment as intended. The farmer says,
Yes.
hold on a second.
Right, we're out here in the fields.
You're trying to force me to go to your guy. I can do better with other parts.
Right.
Or using my guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there are arguments on both sides, but
will there be lawsuits forthcoming when something goes wrong? Yeah,
of course, because they'll say that it was incorrectly maintained, and therefore they're not strictly liable for it.
Right.
So anyway, I just thought what I most thought interesting was the fact that it was the number one story to BBC.
Yeah.
Finally, Dateline, Jackson, Wyoming.
Yes.
You'll love this.
Yes, I love this.
Teton County.
Let's go.
Now,
Chop,
there was a
chop.
correction because originally the story said you must take down your holiday lights
The
by
26th.
January 10.
Oh.
By January 10, okay, which is tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Then they backtracked because they said, oh, you know what? Not everybody can physically get it done in time, but you got to turn them off.
I love that.
You got to turn them off. How
love
about that?
I mean,
is that the greatest? Could that be a poll question tomorrow?
100%. Because if you haven't taken them down by now, there are some houses around me that are still fully decorated.
Well,
Ribbons,
wait a minute. Wait.
Bows,
Hold it. Just so I'm
garland.
honest. Our tree is long gone.
Okay.
I still have some exterior lights.
Okay. TikTok.
Very tasteful.
Oh, no. Do you have garlands or ribbons? Is there anything red or green?
No. White.
All right, I'm okay with that.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll drive by my house and see what you think. But it has to be at night or
Yeah.
you won't notice.
Oh, so you have them on?
Yes.
You're not doing the Jackson.
Well, I don't
model.
know. Maybe tomorrow this will be the poll question.
So
it's a
interesting.
great story.
But there are
hat tip-
houses with candy canes still decorating them. That's wrong.
Okay, hat tip to Zippy because he put this one on my
Zippy
radar
did?
screen.
Good job, Zip.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you, Zip. Ladies and gentlemen, go vote on today's poll question at Smerconish.com. Will you please? It's the Title 42 question. The Biden administration, they say don't like it, but they've just expanded its usage. Are you okay with that? Vote at Smerconish.com. Register, please, for the daily newsletter if you're not already registered. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.